Video games are filled to the brim with a history of stellar music. But amongst the various games I've played in my life, few have main themes that resonate so much with the character and thematic beats of the game's story as The Edge of Dawn from Fire Emblem Three Houses.
I look to you like a red rose, seeking the sun, no matter where it goes.
In a vacuum, this song is already stellar. It's an absolute banger of an instrumental, and hearing it when I played the game for the first time is what got me so excited to experience it. But the real quality for The Edge of Dawn is found within the context of its relation to the story of the game. Between the four routes, and especially Edelgard's own Crimson Flower, the player discovers how The Edge of Dawn is a beautiful piece expressing love, regret, and hope. To properly understand this wonderful song, let's examine its lyrics and how they relate to the woman singing them. Edelgard von Hresvelg. Reach for my hand, I'll soar away. Into the dawn, oh, I wish I could stay. At the beginning of the song, Edelgard pleads for Byleth to reach out to her. This could mean to either take her already outstretched hand, or for Byleth to take the initiative and reach out first. The second bar shows where Edelgard wants to remain, here in cherished halls in peaceful days. This refers to the monastery, a place that Edelgard has come to love because of the cherished connections she's formed with both the other students and with Byleth. I fear the edge of dawn, knowing time betrays. The edge of dawn seems to be a representation of Edelgard making the choice to rebel. Ultimately, she's fighting her emotional self that loves all the friends she's made, and that conflicts with her idealistic self, which desires what she believes to be a better world. The third and fourth bar, faint lights pass through colored glass in this beloved place. Silver shines, the world dines, a smile on each face. As joy surrounds, comfort abounds, and I can feel I'm breaking free. For just this moment lost in time, I am finally me. These are pretty straightforward. Edelgard is further describing her time at the monastery, something she sees to be a blissful moment in her life. Particularly the last line, for just this moment lost in time, I am finally me, sticks out. The fact that Edelgard believes the version of herself which is more emotionally vulnerable and without the worries of her responsibilities to be her true self is a very important aspect of her character. It shows that although what she believes to be her true self would not make the future decisions that she does, she believes she is called for a higher purpose and must deny her own happiness in order to attain it. And yet still I hide behind this mask that I have become, my blackened heart scorched by flames, a force I can't run from. This alludes to things both physical and emotional. Edelgard literally hides herself behind the mask of the Flame Emperor, but is simultaneously hiding herself behind the metaphorical mask that she puts up for the other students and for Byleth. The image she projects to the world must be one of strength and capability if she's going to be able to inspire them to fight alongside her, and so she must mask her inner vulnerability in order to do so. Her blackened heart that's scorched by flames also brings to mind the idea of the Flame Emperor, though this also evokes the experimentation done to Edelgard that both permanently scarred her body and emotionally burnt her. The force that she can't run from describes the ideological force that drives her to act, which she feels cannot be set aside for the sake of her own emotions, and is reminiscent of her powerlessness against the Agarthans that experimented on her when she was younger. I look to you like a red rose, seeking the sun no matter where it goes, is the opening line of the chorus and the first indication regarding the way that Edelgard's feelings for Byleth seem to operate. These feelings of love that she has appear to her to be both unreasonable and incredibly powerful, so much so that it's making her stray from her path. To seek Byleth no matter where they go is to say that her love threatens to take the place of her ideological goals. Comparing Byleth to a rose immediately after speaking of her own heart as blackened and scorched by flames generates a strong sense of juxtaposition. A flower is a very organic thing, and it's a symbol of life, contrasted against something like fire which burns and destroys. I long to stay where the light dwells, to guard against the cold that I know so well. This part is straightforward, and further emphasizes Edelgard's desire to stay at the monastery and continue her peaceful days. For the first time in her life, she finally has a place where the world isn't cold, and she's warmed by the love of her comrades. As the rain falls on the path, I chase your shadow. I don't feel a single drop or the ground below. Then you turn to me, then I stop before I know, and the lie upon my lips, I let it go. Here, Edelgard describes pursuing Byleth as like chasing after a shadow. She is so single-minded in this that she cannot pay attention to the world around her. But, when finally given the opportunity to reveal herself to Byleth, Edelgard fails to follow through. Instead, she lies once more and keeps her true self concealed. This section conveys how desperately Edelgard wants to open herself up to Byleth and how passionate she is in her pursuit. Yet her own sense of restraint is so powerful it stops her from doing so. Cross my heart, making vows I know will be betrayed. A sad girl's pleas live only for a breath, and then they fade. Here, Edelgard acknowledges how she knows that this life is inevitably going to end, and her struggle with having to lie to her friends. When she is able to express herself, these things exist only for a moment. Ultimately, she still must retreat back within herself in order to further her goals. My dearest wish is that you'll know these tender thoughts that only seem to grow. They are as snow, melting away, yet seeking your warmth if only for a day. This part has one of my favorite metaphors in the song. Edelgard likens her romantic feelings for Byleth as being like snow, but interestingly likens Byleth's own love as being a warmth that melts it. It beautifully describes how in Edelgard's view, her romantic feelings are self-destructive, yet she cannot help but indulge them. She is so absolutely desperate for a modicum of real emotional connection that she's willing to sacrifice her own well-being and her future for it. The blue moonlight cuts across our sight, as pure and clear as a ringing bell reaching for us in the night. As the wind calms my thoughts, I held strong on this terrace. I feel at peace, carried away by the wind song. I believe this part of the song to be referencing Edelgard's declaration of war. This is a major moment of energy and power for her, and when she says that the wind song carries her away to feel at peace, it's likely in the sense that it's the moment she feels fully committed to her idealistic goals. Open the door and walk away. Never give in to the call of yesterday. Memories that made those days sublime, these ruined halls entomb stolen time. Here, Edelgard tells herself that she must move forward and to not allow herself to be drawn back into who she once was at the academy. At this point, she is past the point of no return and describes the ruined monastery in a poetic way of likening it to ruins that house stolen time. This idea of stolen time is yet another great way to describe her tenure at the school, as being a point in her life that Edelgard was stolen away from her ambitions and was allowed to be her true self. After this, the chorus repeats itself, and the song ends. In totality, this sets up the player for immediate intrigue. The casual listener gets to experience an excellent song, and the attentive listener is greeted with quite a bit of intrigue delivered through wonderfully written lyrics. Though the newcomer might be unfamiliar with Edelgard's character, it sets expectations for us to think deeply about what's going on beneath the surface of these students. This further extends to first meeting the three house leaders. While perhaps not as much context as could be ideal, the player still gets to know a fair amount of each lord's personalities, as well as some specific insight that Byleth has about each of them. When considering Edelgard, Byleth remarks that she appears to be constantly evaluating them, owing credence to the words in her song predicting her eventual focus on Byleth as a sort of way out from her responsible feelings fueled by her love for them. One of Fire Emblem Three Houses' greatest strengths is its immense and ubiquitous quality across the entire soundtrack, and this includes the trio of composers' masterful use of the Edge of Dawn as leitmotifs in other pieces of music. Most notably, this comes in the music of the final battle in both the Blue Lions and Crimson Flower routes, a masterpiece of a track called The Apex of the World. The track is incredible in its own right. From its riveting orchestral backing to the immaculate vocals of its choir, it manages to blend multiple different styles and creates this amazing sense of pacing as it rises and falls. The Apex of the World features leitmotifs from other songs you've heard throughout the game on your way to the finale. This includes the main battle theme of Fodlan Winds, Sothis' theme, The Spirit Dies. When I played Fire Emblem Three Houses, I first went through the Crimson Flower route. When in my second playthrough I heard the same finale theme again, I was frankly disappointed. Given how excellent I thought the song to be when I first experienced it, I had hoped for something similar, but fresh for the end of the Blue Lions route. But after giving it more thought, I think this is an excellent choice on the part of the developers. At the end of the Crimson Flower route, Apex of the World is like an empowering final push for Edelgard. It's the culmination of her character arc and her goals. By being with Byleth and growing both as an emperor and a woman, she's become a far better person in both respects. Edelgard has really gotten the best of both worlds. She's obtained the ambitions of making what she perceives to be a freer world without the cost of sacrificing her love for Byleth and likewise her own emotional core. This idea is completely flipped though, when that same song appears at the end of the Blue Lions route. Here the words are no longer said in the sense of fulfillment, of being able to move past them. Rather, they're a lamentation. In this context, it's almost like Edelgard is begging Byleth. But by this point, it's far too late. She's fully embraced her goals at the cost of her own humanity. Interestingly, the Edge of Dawn is thematically dense with the idea of emotional control and vulnerability, and Edelgard's final form in this fight is referred to as Hegemon Edelgard, meaning a powerful leader that is both immensely strong and capable of controlling others. This is a manifestation of the opposite of Edelgard's inner self. It's someone that seeks to singularly control instead of opening herself up and helping the world grow. The Edge of Dawn stays with the player until the very end, and it's the principal ending theme for most routes of the game. It bears a great resemblance to the original, though with a slower pace. There are, however, certain differences in the lyrics that add even more dimensions to the song. Bars 1 through 5, 8 through 10, and 13 through 18 remain the same, but the 4 different ones tell a different story. Instead of the iconic "I look to you" at the beginning of the chorus, bars 6 and 7 read, "As I live out each peaceful day, deep in my soul, I know I can't stay. So I wish I could hide away, hold tight to what I love, keep cruel fate at bay." Contrast these against their original iteration, and we see a more disillusioned Edelgard. Originally, this bar depicts Edelgard seeing Byleth as her hope, her way out of the sad state she finds herself in. But in this version, she's absolutely hopeless. Instead of a way out, all she can think to do is retreat within herself and put off the inevitable. Bars 11 and 12 read, "Don't ever take back your kind hand, lest precious love slip away like time's sand. Only we will know all that was lost. Scars that we can't erase show us life's true cost." The first part implies a scenario of Edelgard pleading that the love extended to her from Byleth never be taken away, something that would have had to happen during the events of Silver Snow especially. The second part furthers this point. Only Edelgard and Byleth will know what was lost because Byleth is the one person she was willing to open herself up to. In the line, "Scars that we can't erase show us life's true cost," Edelgard alludes to both the emotional scars of losing Byleth and the physical scars that she bears from her experiments. Of course, the theme for the end credits is different at the end of the Crimson Flower route. Absent from any lyrics, this version of the song features a much lighter tone and a more simplistic composition. It makes the player feel like Edelgard has finally stepped across that edge and into a new day, one free from the burdens that she's had to bear. This is reflected in Byleth turning their own new leaf, as the end of the Crimson Flower route is the only one where Byleth is separated from Sothis and their hair is returned to its original color. Edelgard has gotten to achieve her ambitions without having to sacrifice her own true emotional self. This is an Edelgard that has gotten to achieve her ambitions without having to sacrifice her true emotional self. Byleth has taken her hand, and they've soared into a new future alongside one another. If you enjoyed this video, I implore you to check out some of the other videos that are on screen right now, as I think you'll like them just as much. Thanks for watching, and have a happy birthday.